Welcome. This is Scoasoft, an intelligent school administration software. In this video, we'll be walking through settings, and particularly settings for secondary school. To go to the settings page, click on the navigation menu, you click settings. The first section of settings is switch year and term. This is important because if we have been using the system for many years or for the past terms, we might need to view or print or access or download that information which was archived. So for us to view that information, every time that we are loading in the system, we are always selected to use the current term and the current year. So if we want to go back in the year or in the specific term that we want to view information that we entered that was processed in that time, then we need to change it from here. In this field, we change the term. Let us say change term 3, and we can also change the year. We want to view information for 2024 term 3. And once we click save, alert is shown to us that term and year selection has been successful. So we have now successfully selected the year and term. Please note that information for the previous terms cannot be modified as it is shown here. Editing is possible for current term to avoid inconsistency in school documentation history, like going back and editing information, payments information, students information of last year or last term would bring inconsistency. So when you switch to the previous year or term, you're able to go and view that information in profiles, performance, payments, and attendance after switching here. Please note that by default, when you load this application, when you load this page and refresh it, it will always select back to the current term. So that is like that. So this is the feature of switching between year and term to view information that was archived or information that is current. The next section on settings is subjects. So in this section, we enter all the subjects attempted in the school or all subjects that are offered in the school. Some schools offer subjects that are not offered by other schools. So here you can list down all the subjects that are taught in a school. So please note that when you're entering them, they will go in the order that you're putting them up. Some schools prefer to order subjects in a certain way, and others prefer to order subjects in another way. So as you enter them, you can enter them according to how you prefer to order them and even how they will appear on the report card. So here we have some subjects, for example, that I've been able to enter in my example. And this setting and these subjects are here like this. This column is for the ID, which is automatically generated by the database. When we enter new subjects, this is automatic. We don't control that. And the subject name or the subject identifier is this one, English, mathematics, geography, all these ones, and some other just test subject. Competences here, in competences, we only provide the total number of competences that can be completed in a term. This is just an example, 2, 1, 3, just an example that I have made. But the standard competences that should be completed in a term, there are 4. But other schools, other teachers can complete less competences in a term or more competences in a term. So this setting just gives us a sight that this is the maximum number of competences or topics that can be completed in a term. The next column is the teacher initial. Teacher initials are separated by commas. The first initial for senior 1, comma, the next initial for senior 2, comma, the next initial for senior 3, comma, the next initial for senior 4, comma, next initial for senior 5, and senior 6 as well. So all these initials, this is just an example, but they can be unique or it can be the same teacher, but should be like separated, that this is the initial for English teacher for such and such a class. So where you position that initial is what determines the initial for that subject for that class. If a teacher changes, or if English teacher for senior 3 changes, we just come and say edit this one here, edit teacher initial, this column here, not this one, edit teacher initial. So when you click edit and you want to change for senior 3, senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, and you want to change, maybe the teacher has changed, so we have senior 1, senior 2, senior 3. This is the initial. We can change it to RZ and update. So when we save, it is updated very well. So you can always edit the teacher initials if there be change in the staff. And this column here, it is edit number of competences. If you had entered maybe 4, but you want maybe to decrease the maximum number, remember, it's not the must number that the competence that should be completed, but you just enter the maximum number of topics that a teacher can complete in a term. As I said, the standard is 4, but some can complete less or many depending on how they are teaching the curriculum. So this is how the subjects are listed out, and as I've described, each one column of them, and the final column is the delete one. If you feel like you want to delete the subject, or maybe the order is not correct or the spelling has been wrong, you can delete and add again. But the order should be followed. If you change here, then you need to change all these. So the delete is here in case you want to delete that subject. Okay, how do we add a subject? There's a form here where we have add subject. You enter the subject, let's say agriculture, you enter in here. Enter number of competences or topics for the subject. Here we said we enter the maximum. And we have in a range of 1 to 6, indicating the number of competences or topics. So you enter here. After entering the subject here, you enter the maximum number of topics that can be completed in a term, 4 or 6 or less, depending on how the school is running, and also add teacher initials. As we said, teacher initials are separated by commas indicating the class. Enter the subject, who is teaching that subject, in senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, senior 5, senior 6, to indicate the teachers. So you fill in here. After filling in everything correctly, you click save and your subject will be added here automatically. For example, we can add one subject with you. We can say technical drawing. And technical drawing can say the maximum number of competences that can be completed in a term, therefore. And the teacher initials for senior 1, we have A.Z. Senior 2 is a comma, K.L. Who teaches technical drawing in senior 3, it is O.Y, just for example. Who teaches technical drawing in senior 4, that can be T.I. And who teaches technical drawing in senior 5, that can be P.E. And who teaches technical drawing in senior 6, that can be a T.W. Senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, senior 5, senior 6. And we click save, and our subject comes up here. Number of competences, we said 4, still here. And the teacher initials, we have entered that here. We can edit the number of competences, we can edit the teacher initials, or we can delete and add later. So this information remains here in case you want to enter another subject. You just change the name here, and you just change the number of competences here, and the teacher initials. So that's how we add subjects. And that's all about setting up subjects in a secondary school. The next section is publish performance in parents portal. So we have an application for parents. A parent can come at a school. The school will have this authority to install the application for the parent and also give permission to the parent to see their specific student or students' data. This data will be the profile of the student, performance, those are the assessments they make, and the payments and the attendance log. But for performance, schools prefer that you can control who can see the report card and who cannot see the report card. So we have that control here. If the published status is published and the required payment of school fees 0%, all parents will see the assessments and the scores of their students right at home. But if you want to control and maybe say 75%, only parents who have paid 75% of their school fees will be able to see the assessments and the scores of their students. Or if you're still entering in the assessments and the scores of the students, you can easily say not published and save. And no one will see anything because the status is not published. And when everything is ready and you want them to see, you can always turn it back to published and click save. So how do we connect a parent to a student in a school? So after the parent has visited the school and you have been able to install the application for them on the phone, the application is called Scoasoft Parents Portal. It's on Play Store. You come to profiles. You can select a specific profile, for example, and you can go to edit. And then that parent, after logging in, they will have an ID. Here where we have parent ID. You enter the parent ID here. And when you save, from that moment on, that parent will have access to information regarding this particular student only. If they have more than one student in the school, you have to go to every single individual student profile and change this part of parent ID to give the parent access to all of those students. So that is that. So that's the purpose of controlling here, this one, because in the parents portal, attendance, payments, and profiles, they are visible, but then performance is controlled by this. We can always turn off or turn on, publish and unpublish. And that is that about publishing student performance in parents portal. The next section is payments. Payments, this is a way of letting the system know how much each student in each class is paying school fees. So there are zeros here because this has not yet been set up, but you can put values here and say senior 1 pays such and such an amount of school fees, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, all of them you enter how much they pay. You can always come and edit these values and change them if the fees structure of the school changes. And you can go to a specific student profile and you can change what they pay. We know that some students pay more money and some of them pay less, depending on maybe they have a half bursary, full bursary, sponsorship, whatever it may be. You can always go and change the school fees paid per each individual student. And that is that about setting up payments in settings. Streams is the next region. So in this section here, we are setting up streams per class. So a class can have many streams, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the number of students. So here, you come and set up, for example, the streams in senior 1. And as the description says, you enter streams for this class by separating them with a new line. Let's try that. So we can say green is a stream in senior 1, new line. Blue is a stream in senior 1, new line. And yellow is a stream in senior 1, new line. We can try to replicate the same for all the classes, but that will not always be the case. You need to enter streams because they are different in many schools per class. So we need to enter per class the streams that are in that class. If the class doesn't have streams, then it's good that we leave that field blank and we only enter for those who have streams. And after setting up all this, we can click save to save our streams. So now when we go to creating a student profile or enrolling a new student, we can select the class and the stream. Or if we are editing an existing profile, we can select which class they belong to and which stream they belong to. So that is that about setting up streams in settings. There is a final button here called Go to Custom Settings. There is a video for this one. It's a very important setting for generating report cards for the new curriculum in secondary schools. So please, if you need to know how to utilize this, there's a video for that one. Go in the next video called Custom Settings, and then you watch that one and you'll know how to interact with custom settings. What are we setting there and what is important there and why should we set it? There's a lot of automation here that is done. So this is covered in another video. Thank you for working with me till now. Thank you for watching. And that is that about interacting with settings for secondary school. Bye.